I'm curious as well because I know you've lent into, but correct me if I'm wrong, plant-based medicines as well
Mhm.
in time, which was something that opened me up completely. And did all this come before when you created the documentary Heal, or did this come afterward? What happened?
Yeah, with like the plant-based medicine or the
Yeah, yeah,
plant
I'm
medicine.
fascinated. Yeah,
Yeah, it was after. It was, yeah, I didn't have any. Heal was such a calling, and it was like I'd go to the Agape bookstore and I'd pick up a book by Bruce Lipton, and you're just reading and
right.
learning, and I would be, training for marathons, and I'd be running for 2 hours at a time and listening to Abraham Hicks or driving to auditions in an hour of traffic and listening to Wayne Dyer or Eckhart Tolle, and just like infiltrating, consuming that content in my brain, and just which it just helped me navigate a career of constant rejection and LA stresses of the high paced life, fast paced life. So I felt this calling to do Heal, and then as I was doing it, you just meet different people, and then my I had a facialist who had kind of apprenticed for this shaman and had done like ayahuasca like 200 ceremonies over the last 5 years, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And so I was intrigued, but I wasn't ready until like a year later, maybe a year and a half later. And then once I like decide to do something, I'm kind of that Aries that just like leaps and jumps. Like I'll try anything, apart from something that's like really dark. Um, so I did ayahuasca. I did it in the absolute wrong set and setting. I did it in a first floor condo in Century City, like with a group of people I did not know. There was no instruction or kind of guide plan for the ceremony laid out ahead of time, which I think is really important. And there was no kind of interaction with the shaman beforehand, so I didn't know. I was just going on the trust of my other friend. Um, and I was just like, whoa, it was super aggressive. It was like a full battle with myself. And I got two really massive insights out of it, but it was like a war for,
Wow.
6 hours with myself. And I woke up, I got out of the ceremony. I was like, that is not my medicine. And then interestingly enough, as the universe would have it, um, and I didn't judge it. I was just like, that I think just for different people and different souls who are different sensitivity levels, they require and resonate with different medicines. And I still believe that. So I was like, okay, that's a bit aggressive, like not my jam. And then because of Heal came out, and Michael is part of this center called Rhythmia in Costa Rica. And so and I knew the girlfriend, the wife at the time of the founder. And so they invited me down there to speak. And they're like, come down, hang out for a week. So I was looking at the calendar, and I didn't know that all they offered was plant journeys. Like it was 4 days of ayahuasca, which again, like one day was too aggressive for me. So like four, like forget it. So I looked at the calendar, and I saw a week that combined breath work and ayahuasca. I was like, great, I'll just do breath work because that's some of the most transformative work I've ever done, really, with my own instrument. And I'll go down, they'll show Heal. I brought my best friend who's never done a drug in her life, apart from like smoking weed once in high school. And so she was like very clear, like, there's no way in hell I'm doing ayahuasca, and I was like, don't worry, like me either, I'm good. So we go down there, we do breath work on the first night, and my best friend has this like transcendent experience. I mean, she has visions, she sees stuff. She like left, like we went back to the hotel room, and she was just like mind blown. And then she's like, I don't know, maybe we should do the ayahuasca. And I was like, who are you? I've known this girl since we were 10 years old. We're best friends. She's my sister. And it was I would have bet $1 million those words would never come out of her life or her mouth. So, anyways, long story short, we go to the informational meeting. They totally lay out this roadmap, what the journey is going to be like, what the week is going to be like, and And we both I just felt so much more comfortable. And I was like, look, if my best friend, who's never done anything like this, is willing to try, then I need to be there to kind of shepherd her and make sure she's fine, because I know that it could be intense. So I talked to Michael Beckwith's assistant, who's very gentle, and she's a yoga teacher. And I said, have you, you've been to Rhythmia, have you done that's like intense? She's like, it took me 13 times teaching yoga down there before I decided to do the plant medicine.
Wow.
And she said, just set an intention for a gentle experience, and we'll check on you. You're gonna be fine. So I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. You can set your intention and really like frame your experience. So I set that intention. It was so profound. I got what I needed in one day, which there was these 3 steps you go through. And I went through all of them in the one ceremony. So then after that, we kind of went off and did our own thing. But it was like, I understood why the first ceremony was the way it was. Like, it was just so profound. And yeah, and I actually I learned later, I came home and like 2 weeks later found out I was pregnant. So I had conceived my child like 2 days prior to going to Costa Rica. Wow. So I was like, is that good for the baby? But I guess it's pretty, it's like a sacred thing in Native cultures.
Totally.
To be on a journey like that, pregnant. So it was really magical. And then, I've gone on to do a few more things, but yeah.
Wow. Well, I feel you when you say leaning into that second time, the courage to do that is I think immense. Because when I did it, I've only done it once, and my whole body thought it was going to die. I was that terrified before I went to drink the medicine, because I'd had a bad experience when I was a kid. I was eating mushrooms and I didn't even know what I was doing, and spent as a 13-year-old tripping my balls off, not wondering what the hell was going on. So I kind of never touched anything ever since, and that was my reinitiation back into it.
Wow.
And so I hear you, to lean into that. What was the lessons you've learned from that then? How would you describe it when people ask you, what was your experience like? What do you do? Like, how do you find words? Did you have a transcendental experience, or was it just an inner kind of inward exploration?
Yeah, mine was very inward. The roadmap that they lay out is like, there's going to be 3 things that you find out, have a conversation with Mother Ayahuasca. And what I truly believe is that the medicine gives you what you need, right? Mm. And I also have talked to, I have this, amazing group of healers I work with, just different, and there's a few women who can't work with people that have done a lot of plant medicine, because it's like a sacred thing. And if you do it too much, almost in an addictive way, which can happen because you learn so many profound insights about yourself, you want more. But what I found and what I've learned from these kind of master healers that literally turn people down because they've opened too many portals. I can't work with that energy anymore. So I'm very respectful of the medicine. I have learned how deeply wise ayahuasca, I think, is a master teacher plant. Iboga, which I have not done, but I've just involved in a documentary because it's got tremendous transformative healing powers for opioid addiction and PTSD and servicemen and women. So the wisdom of nature and these plants and what have been practiced. I mean, the plants really do give you what you need and what you can handle. So that to me is so fascinating, but to be respected, and not to be abused, because like anything else, there's just personalities that want more and more and more. And it's like, it may take a year to integrate one session. It may take a month, everybody's different, and I'm not judging anyone who does many, many things, but it's just definitely to be respected. But I am in awe of the wisdom that these plants can give someone in healing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.